One breezy evening, James returned to the sheds after taking a passenger train. He wanted to rest, but when he saw Henry shunting a line of trucks, he felt compelled to say something. "For a big engine like you, Henry, you seem to like staying put, shunting around the yard," he exclaimed. "Well, what do you suppose I do then?" snapped back the green engine. "Get out and exercise your wheels," replied James. "I like quiet work," retorted Henry. "It is peaceful and gets things done without fuss." James said nothing and decided to go to sleep. Next morning, James was speeding down the branch line once again. "Henry really is missing out," he thought to himself, enjoying the open countryside. He stopped at Marin, but his mood soon changed. "Morning, branch liner," huffed Gordon. "Coaches are coaches, Gordon. You know that." "The worth of the train is only counted when an experienced engine pulls it," grunted the big engine. "What are you on about?" replied James smugly. "A mixed traffic engine like me can handle more jobs than you could ever dream of." "James is right," said a familiar, wise-sounding voice. It was Edward, who was shunting in the nearby yard. "True hard work that we smaller tender engines do is just as important to the railway as the jobs you do." Agreed James, much to the dismay of the big engine. "Someone's got to do this stuff, Gordon." "Surely it isn't going to be you," smiled Edward, with a twinkle in his eye. "Well, stuttered Gordon, trying to talk back. And with that, James hurried off, without another word being said. James arrived at the harbour. It was very late. "This is the last place I want to be right now," he fumed. "Come on, James," assured his driver. "All we have to do is shunt vans for the Kipper." "Smelly trucks," he grumbled to himself. "There we go. Now can I have some rest?" But before he could leave, he saw a familiar big engine back down upon the train. "Well, what a surprise to see you here," he snarled. "If I weren't selfish, I would have taken the Kipper myself." "Good idea, James," interrupted his driver. "We can double-head the train." The engine stared. "Ready?" James called. "With you, who knows?" replied the green engine. Come on, huffed the two engines, and even with the heavier load, the two engines made it out of the harbour. "This is lovely," sighed James, as the signals and headlights lit up the silent tracks. "This is only the beginning," smiled the green engine. "Just wait till we get to the end of the line." And with that, they forged ahead. It was dawn by the time the two got back to the sheds. The other engines had left early for their work, and only Gordon was left. "You two must have had loads of fun," he said. "Oh, we did," huffed Henry. "It was more fun than pulling the express." I doubt that smelly fish train's at all good to any sensible engine, he grunted. The two engines chuckled to themselves. Well, anyway, I've got work to do. Can't mess around with you chatterboxes, said Gordon indignantly, and he huffed away. James and Henry had the entire morning to rest. Their drivers wiped them down and cooled their boilers. Now get as much rest as you can before you can get back to doing your jobs in the afternoon, they said. The engines sighed as they soaked in the rising sunlight. You know what I think? Smirked the shiny engine. The Kipper run isn't all that bad. Oh, I'm glad you know that now. It's tough for sure, but the nice atmosphere certainly makes up for it, laughed Henry. James thought for a moment. You think we could do it together sometimes? He asked. Of course, smiled the big green engine, and the two friends talked the entire day away.